sponsored by Shop G&O for the following season, everybody. Make sure you're checking out their brand new website launching on the 5th of May. If you sign up and become part of the members club, it's a £25 membership club, absolutely free, everybody. You can only get it through one Leeds. Competitive rates across the site as well. Better than Amazon, Vinted, and eBay. Make sure you check out Shop G&O. It is an e-commerce site which is tailored for all of your needs. Also, everybody, we are sponsored by Job Match Group. Talking about tailoring, make sure you check out this. It's got very specific job needs tailored to all of your every single needs. Make sure you check it out, everybody. Launching on the 6th of May. Well worth it. Finally, we're sponsored by the lads at Match Bingo. £2 per card, £5 for the price of 4. Get involved every match day, everybody. The QR code is in the corner. And let's get into the show, shall we? Well, good morning, everybody. How are we doing? It is the Rumour Mill. My name is Conor McGilligan, taking you through the transfer rumours and just a bit of discussion and discourse around our fantastic club this fantastic Thursday morning. What is going on in your world? Hope you're all good, everybody. Let us know what's going on. I'm really enjoying these. Are you? Let me know in the comment section below, but hopefully you are. I know we're not actually into the full throngs of the rumour mill when it comes to transfers and Leeds actually having medicals done and all this sort of stuff. But listen, discussion is going on between clubs and players, and that's what we're here to discuss. And a lot of these players will probably get linked and maybe even sign for the club. So we like to discuss it. You like to discuss it. I love it. I absolutely love it. And guys, if you are interested, we do have a pinned comment right now to the YouTube comments. The reason there is a pinned comment is I did a little bit of a video yesterday. You might have missed it. There's a lot of you guys who are interested in my picks for who I'd go for. Daniel Farker has uttered, apparently behind the scenes, that 6 players should be coming in to Leeds United to our starting 11, you would hope, because we need more than that. But I've gone with Connor's 6 picks. That is a video. Watch that after this one. And could be quite an interesting one for you. There's a lot of really good suggestions in there as well. Daryl's in the building. Hello, Daryl. Morning, Connor. Hope you're well, fella. Keep up the good work. Tom Goodall's in here as well. Shout out to you, mate. Morning, Connor, says, Paul, how's it going? Rick, I'm going to ignore that. Morning, Connor. It's a bit nippy here in York this morning. Still love that intro music. Good lad, Martin. A lot of people are asking me about the intro music. The intro music is a fantastic Scandinavian band, from what I understand, and it's lovely copyright-free music. So that is always good on the YouTube circuit, isn't it? So, listen, I can link you it if you guys are interested in it. Just give us a DM. But it's a cracking tune. Second live of the week from Dubai Whites. Why are we not talking about Lamptey at Brighton Hove Albion on a free? Great comment there, Simon. It could be a really good pickup. We are going to be talking about right backs. Morning, Con. Finally caught you on a live. How are you feeling? Still under the weather? Johnny, I'm better today, mate. I'm better today. It's one of my South American concoctions again. That has made me feel better. So it's called Agua Preparada, I believe. And if you know, you know. I just want to be South American. First yerba mate, now this. What's next? Good morning to everybody. Lois, how's it going, my friend? How's it going? Good to see you in here, buddy. Morning, Connor. First live I've caught since the last game. Still buzzing. Good lad, Lee. Matthew's in the building as well. Smash that like button. Yeah, guys, everyone, it just lifts the algorithm. We've got over 400 of you in here on YouTube. Just lift up that algorithm. I really appreciate that. So let's get into the transfer rumours this morning as well. I've been waffling on way too much, haven't I, over the last couple of days. We've got the notepad. This is what we always do through the Rumour Mill. We're going to be getting into certain players as well. So let's start off with the guy on screen, shall we? This is an interesting one. Leeds and Nico Raskin. So Raskin is a central midfielder for Rangers. I'm going to flip to my second page here because I didn't expect to start with Nico Raskin. We've spoken about Raskin on the Rumour Mill before. Rangers acquired him, I believe, from Standard Liège. I was mentioning this on the Rumour about 3 or 4 years ago, I think, when he was at Standard Liège. Rangers picked him up in 2023. I believe it was in January. Really good player. Unai Emery is interested in him. Apparently, Daniel Farker and Leeds United are interested in him. A tempo dictator in the central midfield space. I mentioned my central midfield picks on the video that I've put in the pinned description if you guys are interested in that after this video. So just caution on that one. Now, this is where it becomes interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. The 49ers, Rangers, the 49ers, Leeds United, Nico Raskin. Maybe a little bit of a connection there. I think there is behind the scenes, of course. Now, the interesting part of this is he'd be a good value. The market value for Raskin's around about 6 million. The asking price is 10 and above. He's got a contract until 2027, so he's only got 2 years left. So that's something that Rangers are apparently keeping an eye on. They're set to offer him a bumper contract. But does that matter? Does that matter when a Premier League club comes in? I really like Raskin in terms of his, I mentioned him being excellent in the tempo, but I actually think his decision-making is very good. I think he could translate to the Premier League. And I also think he's an exceptional high presser. When you look at his numbers, he's everywhere. He's an absolute menace in that midfield. So, yeah, something to keep an eye on when it comes to that. He actually reminds me of Torreira, if any of you guys remember him at Arsenal, in terms of his pressing ability, just constant. And yeah, it looks like he'd be a decent signing for Leeds United. So, but this is where it comes to the fore a little bit, the discussion of Rangers and Leeds, because Rangers are apparently looking to offer him a new contract, but then Leeds are interested. So how does this work? But this is it, isn't it? This is it. This is the conversation behind the scenes. Morning, pal. Cracking shirt. Good man, mate. Yeah, how you doing, buddy? How's it going? Hi, Connor. Hope you're well. Do you see the final? How do you see the final be going between Blades and Sunderland? Nath, we're going to be talking about it very soon on the second channel, but we do have battle lines tonight as well, so I'm sure we're going to be touching on it. Macaulay says, morning, Connor. Finally, great to catch a live this week. Shout out to you, buddy. Has Raskin played for the Belgian international side yet? I believe he has, mate. Yeah, Belgium. Let's have a quick look. Actually, it's a really good question, that. We've got all the conversations here about Nico Raskin, and we're not actually sure if he's fully played for the Belgian side. Let's have a look. Yeah, apparently he's made 2 appearances, mate. 2 appearances, but he's still young, still got a career ahead of him as well. So yeah, is Raskin progressive 8? Yeah, yeah, he's not a 6. I'd say he was more of an 8. I'd say he was more of an 8, and I think he's very aggressive in a press, a forward press as well. So I think, listen, I'm a fan of Raskin. Is he top of my list? No, but I get why Leeds are going for him. I get why we're going for him. If we are, that is obviously the question on everybody's lips. Is this actually happening? This is the rumour mill, of course. So welcome to everybody. Make sure you slap a like on the video as well, everybody. We're going to move on. And unfortunately, on my little data pack, we don't have, for whatever reason, I have to get in contact with the lads, but we don't have an actual graphic for this guy. So we're moving back on to Big Bad Beto. Okay. This is interesting. Now, Kinnear is at Everton now, of course. We know that Kinnear deals with contracts. That's something we're going to move on to in this video. But and dealings with contracts as well. And we have several examples of how that's not worked at Leeds United with him and Victor Orta. And we're coming on to Mr. Orta in just a little bit. Don't worry about that. But apparently Sky Sports are claiming that Leeds are willing to spend 30 million quid on a forward. The Mail are also claiming that we are willing to spend 30 million quid, and Sky Sports have apparently said this, on Beto. Now, Brian King, a former scout at Goodison, has said, why would Kinnear help Leeds? He's also said, therefore, 80 million I would accept, and only that would I consider it. Okay, so it's a little bit of nonsense, this, really. It's a little bit of, just quoting from, it's like when you get, the with the greatest respect, like Football Insider quoting an XXX Leeds player or an XXX Leeds scout. But it's interesting when it comes from the Everton side, and it's interesting when it comes to Sky Sports and what we would actually pay for someone like Beto, and whether or not you guys think it will be worth it. I would probably be capped at 13 million on Beto, which I don't think, or 13 to 15 million quid on Beto. He's 27 years of age. I like him. I think he fits the profile of Leeds. Is there better out there, which you can find on the 6 picks yesterday? There is. Miles better. But I do like Beto. 8 goals. He's on a bit of a purple patch right now. Is that all it is with Beto? Is it just a purple patch? Can he then transition that into a full Premier League season for Leeds United? That's a question. But is he worth, if Everton are holding out for that sort of money, but I mean, you've just got to walk away, surely. You've absolutely got to walk away, and they're not going to get good value. And maybe they don't need that as well. Maybe they'd like to keep hold of Beto. DCL looks like he's moving on. He's just been absolutely battered by injuries effectively his entire career. But it is interesting, really, when it comes to Beto, because he's never been prolific. But when he was at Udinese, he was 22 goals in by now. He's effectively played a similar amount of games for Everton. He's about 15 goals in. So he's not prolific. That wouldn't be the striker that we get in. It's not a prolific striker. But that sort of money for me, I'd be walking away. I wouldn't be even entertaining it, to be quite honest with you guys. It's a bit ridiculous. Just under 25 million they paid. Agree. Beto only really works if we swap Harrison. That's kind of where I'm at. Long Island Iced Tea with it. Wouldn't pay 30 million. 30 million for Beto is far too much. Better players out there. We're going to get onto another 30 million pound valuation just a little bit. No chance. Everton fans don't want him. Yes, I think we're all on the same page. I like his attributes. I think as a striker, he helps Leeds. I've mentioned this before with our small, technical, diminutive players in and around the club, of which would profit from, in my opinion, a physical, athletic striker who can find the back of the net. Whatever people may say, he can find the back of the net. We've seen that in the Premier League. We saw that at the weekend. I think he's especially decent on a counter-attack with quicker players around him as well. Seems to keep up with play quite nicely. But yeah, with DCL leaving, they're moving into a new stadium. Kinnear's come in. You're expecting, obviously, Hammond to go there. There's nothing official yet. But you're expecting Leeds United to almost move on from that, even though it's a consideration, isn't it? And we're going to get on to more considerations in a bit. Okay, let's move on to Mr. Victor Orta. Now, what have we got to say about Victor? Now, listen. Victor Orta wasn't horrendous for Leeds United. Wasn't horrendous. Under his watch, we brought in some magnificent players, of course. Rafinha. No, but Rafinha, Rodrigo, a lot of people like the gloss and the glam when he came in as well. Jorginho Rutter as well. So there's been Somerville was under his watch as well when it came to recruitment. So yeah, it was okay for him at Leeds. Now, Monchi, who left Sevilla are in an absolute mess at the minute. And Monchi, who left Sevilla, is their sporting director. And this is why I wanted to get into sporting directors. And this is why I've mentioned it being a sporting director world, the Premier League. So 3 out of his 4 seasons, Monchi, the previous person in Victor Orta's position, he finished 4th in 3 out of the 4 seasons, okay? Orta comes in, they finished 14th last season. And they're 14th now with 2 games left. And apparently Victor Orta is going to be relieved of his duties at Sevilla. They were trying to break into the stadium the other day. It's absolute chaos. And it got me really back into my sort of feelings when it came to the likes of the contracts that he used to give out and why Everton could be in a bit of you need an extremely strong, in my opinion, head of recruitment alongside Angus Kinnear. Because I think Angus Kinnear is with a strong guy as head of recruitment and someone who is a bit of an aficionado, someone who basically properly knows what they're doing. I think maybe that could work. But if you get a head of recruitment next to Angus Kinnear, I would fear for Everton. Because I think Angus Kinnear is a little bit weak when it comes to contract decision making. You look at some of the contracts that we handed out. Jack Harrison's still got 3 years left, everybody. He's still got 3 years left. It is absolutely baffling. 2028, this guy's contract runs out. And Orta obviously effectively signed off the contracts, but Kinnear had a massive deal in all Leeds contracts as well. It was a double-pronged thing. You just look at it. Rodrigo was signed for Leeds, 30 million quid on a 4-year deal at 29 years of age. 4 years on the money that he was on as well. It's just crazy. And that kind of moves us on to Jack Harrison as well. I wanted to talk about his particular way forward here and what Leeds are going to be able to do, because the loan contract has now expired. The clause in his contract has expired, which effectively means from a Leeds United standpoint, I think we've got to sell him. I don't think a loan does anything else really for us, but if we effectively can't sell him, then maybe it will be a loan. But I mean, look at this. Just feast your eyes on it, everybody. Feast your eyes on what we said with this guy for 3 years on the channel, how hot and cold Harrison, how overrated he was because of his work rate. Moyes apparently really likes him because of his work rate. This is one of these arguments that always comes with Brendan as well, his work rate. So can we not get players who have real quality real quality and also work hard. I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can. But Jack Harrison's another one of those. I mean, just look at those stats. Look at those stats. So he's going to be coming back to Leeds in some category, presumably, but you're just hoping Leeds are able to sell. Now, there's been lots of rumours about Jack, and apparently the MLS, obviously we know he's been out there before. That is probably the perfect venture. Could Leeds get some capital back for him as well? You would expect so. But this guy is nowhere near a Premier League player. He never has been a Premier League player. And he's getting to that stage in his career now where with 3 years left on his deal at Leeds United, teams probably going to have to pay a decent amount to effectively get him out of that contract and for Leeds to earn a little bit more on that money that they spent, 11 million quid on Jack Harrison. But by God, everybody, what an absolute failure at that level it's been. Tom says, to be fair, Everton haven't past the halfway line up until Moyes came in. True. Mike Vieira scored 13 goals in 16 games for Monaco. I've seen your email as well, Lee. Sorry, mate. I've been absolutely chock-a-blocked. It will take time for new players coming to Leeds to adapt to Farke's style of play. Tommy's in the building. Leeds stay up with Beto. Tommy, I saw you comment, mate, on my 6 players video as well about me being ambitious. Yeah, mate. I want to be ambitious, buddy. That's the whole thing. 30 million will get that Mexican Feyenoord Jimenez. Yeah, mate, it would as well. Jorge Andrade as well says, as an Everton fan, I personally don't think we should sell to Leeds. I'm worried that'll be a relegation battle at the start of next season. Selling to Leeds will be a disaster. You guys stay up with him. He could be a needle mover. I agree. He could be a needle mover when you're talking about Beto. I'll tell you who isn't a needle mover. This guy on screen right now. James in the building. All good, mate. All good. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, cheers, Tommy. Harrison to Rangers. I tell you what, Dan, that's not a bad shout. That's not a bad shout as well. Raskin coming the other way. We're enjoying that. Kian says, morning, Connor. Nice to talk. I'm back in Havar in 5 weeks' time, bros. Happy days, mate. What a place. What a place. And if you kept up with the One Leeds fan channel, I've been to Havar about 8 million times. So, yeah, shout out to you, buddy. Thank you so much for that one. Right, okay, let's get on to the next bit of conversation, shall we? So, yeah, I mean, we spoke about Raskin a little bit earlier on, but apparently Sky Sports yesterday were also claiming that Leeds are willing to spend 30 million quid on a midfielder. I'm going to let that lie, and I want you guys to let me know some suggestions in the comment section below when it comes to 30 million quid suggestions. For me, if we're willing to spend 30 million quid on midfielders, go check out my midfielder video. Go check out my midfielder. In fact, I can do a specific... Do you guys want me to do a video on like defenders, midfielders, attackers? That's what I was planning on doing. Do you want me to do that? I can literally give you 4 or 5 different options. I'm so up on this right now for potential options for Leeds United. I absolutely love delving into it, to be honest with you. But apparently we're willing to spend 30 million on Sky Sports on a midfielder. Now, we've already got Ampadu in there. We've got Tanaka in there. Whether or not that be spread across 2 midfielders, which I think it should be. You know, I mentioned yesterday Mandela Keita. I mentioned yesterday Ugachukwu as well, who's been exceptional in my opinion for Southampton as well. But there are many others, many others who we can focus on. If we had to spend 30 million quid on one midfielder, I think that's daft. I think in the Premier League and where Leeds are at, and the need for a midfielder, which I think is a bit lower than other positions. Like I think a left winger is lower than a right winger or a central attacking midfielder when it comes to importance. I think Leeds have to start with a goalkeeper, build from the back when it comes to signings, and I think that's a really good pot of call. But for me, when it comes to 30 million quid for a midfielder, by God, you can get 2 in. You might be able to get 3 in if you're smart. You can get 2 in, you get 3 in if you get a loan. In my opinion, like 15 million quid for a midfielder is more than doable on the continent, more than doable. So it depends what Leeds want to do. I wouldn't want us to actively go out and spend maybe 30 million quid on a midfielder, dependent on who that is. I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you can spread that wealth across the team a little bit as well. And we spent 3.4 million quid on Tanaka. If you're in the Premier League, maybe they put a premium on that. And maybe last season Leeds are spending 6 million quid on Tanaka at the most. 6 million quid. At the most. We've not seen him in the Premier League yet, but when we look at, I think, personally, Japanese acclimatization's top leagues in particular, and it's not just a nation thing, but I think there's a lot of very similar attributes with the top Japanese players and the top level of European circuits. So, yeah, I think Tanaka will work at that level as well. And as well, 12 to 18 months ago, there was a lot of Premier League clubs looking at him. So Emi Buendia could be the value for money with players like Pavel Sulch from Plzen and Spurgeon as well. Yeah, Spurgeon we spoke about, didn't we, Daniel, on the channel before. 30 Luke Murphy says, Ben. Harvey Elliott, 30 million quid. I tell you what, Harvey Elliott, I've not heard that name before. Oh, Clark. You're speaking my language, my friend. And there was a link there before, wasn't there, with Calvin Stengs? A massive link with Leeds United. Stengs. Oh, God, you're getting me dreaming. Tom's right. Let's go back in. Let's go back in for him. Connor, what's your thoughts on Milner? It looks like we meant to speak about him yesterday, mate, and I'm so sorry about this. I meant to speak about him. I had to change the flipping thumbnail because we were going on for so long. But James Milner apparently is extending his contract at Brighton. Now, the reason I mentioned James Milner yesterday, and we didn't get onto it, talking about other things, as you know, on here, but when it comes to Milner, I think for Leeds at some point it could be a coaching role. I'd love to see him at Leeds, coaching role, local lad. It's never quite worked out. I mean, well, if he does sign an extension, he'll be nigh on 40. I don't think that's good. That's going to work. A lot of people talking about Milner as well. Longstaff is a must. Most of the players mentioned probably just a smoke screen, so the club getting players then really afterwards. We will have Ampadu, Tanaka midfield 2 in the Prem. Love them both, but does not fill me with a lot of confidence. If you like Soria, Connor, yeah. Uncle, I don't know if he's better. Soria is literally in line for the Zamora Trophy. I think Getafe have killed him a little bit with the end of the season, if I'm being brutally honest with you. But Soria is one that's not really on the circuit. As I say, the big thing with him, mate, is his contract. I think when I was talking about the players yesterday, there was a couple of loans in there. There was a free. There was a. I think we'll be able to get him for a cheap fee as well. But yeah, there are other goalkeepers out here, mate, and Fofana may have been one of mine as well. But yeah, I don't mind that shout whatsoever, mate. With Fofana, what a season he's had. Combined player and assistant manager, potentially Rune. I don't know how that would work. I mean, he's a basic. I think they basically tested Milner's age not long ago, and in terms of like what his physique and what his performance and everything is on the pitch in terms of his age, in comparison to his age, I think he still acts as like it's something like a 29-year-old player, you know, in terms of how he runs around the pitch, the kilometers he spreads. So yeah, OIB says, is Soria good enough from corners? That'd be my worry. Very specific, mate, but his handling's very decent. Very, very decent. Okay, let's get into another bit of news, shall we? So this one is one that perked my interest as we move on to the second sheet today. And you guys let me know in the comment section below if you guys... The thing that I'm interested with you lot with this one is we've got someone in our squad who is from this club. And is it... How do I put this? Is this something that we can effectively go for in the Premier League? Now, Willem Geubbels... For me, there's been a link with him this morning with Leeds United. Can you go out? So for me, apparently it's between Leeds and Ipswich for Geubbels. Now, with Geubbels, we're looking at him as a Swiss League striker, probably the best, maybe behind at the minute, maybe Shaqiri, him and Shaqiri together, probably the best in terms of quality, in my opinion. Now, for all you Irish fans, I put him in the exact same bracket as Troy Parrott. Someone who I would gamble on in the Championship. Now, would Troy Parrott from AZ Alkmaar come to Leeds United in the Championship? Probably not. Now, but he's had an unbelievable stint at Alkmaar, Troy Parrott. Now, with Willem, I see him in a very similar bracket. I think for the Championship, it's a really good signing. I think Parrott will be a really good signing for the Championship, as would Willem. I'm not 100% sure they transition into the Premier League. And I think, you know, you can't do player for player, of course. But when you look at someone like Isaac Schmidt, as well, who's come from that same club, would they be able to transition into the Premier League? Would you take a risk on someone like Schmidt in the Premier League if you were to go out and buy him this summer? Probably not. And I just wonder, look, when I say top leagues, I kind of mean the big six or the big seven when it comes to proof. And this is when I'm making my videos on transfers. I think you've got to go through a big six or a big seven, probably the big six leagues in the world. Can they play, you know, La Liga, Liga, you know, can they play the Bundesliga? Have they played there as well? The Swiss League, just not sure. Just not sure on that one. Let's have a look at what you guys are saying on that one. No chance we get McAtee. I don't know where McAtee is coming from. We've not mentioned McAtee yet. Hands off Raskin, but I also think if he leaves my Rangers, him joining my Leeds maybe hurt less. Yeah, exactly, AJ. I thought you'd be commenting on that, mate. Morning, Rye. Good to see you in here, buddy. I thought you'd be commenting on that. I was wondering where you were. Renegade says, Blades fan here. Tsimikas will be a Premier Level sign. It would be good to see Yorkshire Cup capable of actually spending, competing in the Prem. Interesting comment there, Renegade. Are you kind of thinking when it comes to Blades, there's no real chance of that? Because it's an interesting conversation when it comes to the Blades, isn't it, in comparison to the Blades of Sunderland? And we're going to be getting onto that in the battle lines tonight. Blades of Sunderland getting up. Who will be the more attractive proposition? Who is the bigger club? Thus, who maybe will do better in the Premier League? I know it doesn't always translate that way, but the pull that maybe Sunderland would have in comparison to a Sheffield United, and how is a Sheffield United season going to be maybe a little bit different to previous ones in the Premier League? It's an interesting bit of conversation there, because I think there's context when it comes to Leeds in that last season of the Premier League and how diabolical we just flopped, and the reasons behind that. We're going to be getting onto that in the battle lines anyway later on. So we'll move on from him. Now, I wanted to talk about, thank you so much as well, Zachariah. Really appreciate that, mate. The tree finally moved away from the shirt, Connor. It has, easy teasy. Well done to you, by the way. Well done to you. I wanted to talk about this guy as well. I wanted to talk about Joe Gelhardt. Now, there's a reason I wanted to talk about Joe Gelhardt. Not only can Leeds be thinking about incomings, it's really important that we think of players potentially leaving the club. Okay? Now, Joe Gelhardt, for me, is one where I was really excited because look, it's not been an unbelievable campaign for him at Hull, as you can see on screen now. It's 5 goals in 20 appearances, and it's not like he's been outstanding. But Ruben Sellers absolutely loved him, called him exceptional, said he was one of the, from quotes as well, it's one of the best players he's ever worked with. And Sellers is about to be sacked by Hull. As Hull sacked Raskin last season after that league finish, and people were always saying to me, "Oh, Connor, yeah, but look at the players he had." Raskin had to develop those players. A lot of those players were young players. Liam Delap didn't really feature for them in the season. Jaden Philogene, Jacob Greaves. This was a very, very, very good Hull side who, yes, should have got promoted, but didn't. And did they build on that? Absolutely no, not. They got rid of Raskin, who built the foundation. They get Sellers in after the debacle before. They get Sellers in. And you think, right, he's done really well this season. He's kept Hull up. And then they're about to get rid of him. And I don't know where the Hull owner, I think he's Turkish, isn't it? I don't know where he thinks they should be. And the reason it's frustrating for me is because I was literally doing a bit of an outgoings video that I was going to upload to the channel. Gelhardt was one of my main options, one of my main talking points. I love Joe Gelhardt. I've always loved him at the club. There's just not a position of which he's fit. When he went to Sunderland, he was supposed to be partnered with Ross Stewart up front. Ross Stewart then got injured for about 1.5 years. Gelhardt was playing as a lone striker. That is not Gelhardt's role. His role at Leeds United has been mixed. His best position has been as an impact sub. His best place at the club has been as an impact sub in the Premier League, of course. Aside from that, it's not quite worked, right? And I was looking at Hull and I thought, there we go. There we go. Under Sellers, they go back in, they sign him, we'll make profit on him. I think we get more than $1 million. We brought him in for $1 million as well, so it looked decent on the books. Sellers called him exceptional, really likes it. And then Hull go and sack, and they look, apparently, according to every source under the sun, they're about to sack him, they're about to get rid of him, which is ridiculous. But kind of what I'm hoping there is there's going to be a lot of, Callum Fowler mentioned it the other day as well, that there's going to be a manager merry-go-round, and I agree with him what he was saying there. And you kind of look at Norwich. I know they're interviewing Pep Linders now, obviously Jurgen Klopp's former assistant. If that doesn't go through and Sellers does leave, I reckon Sellers could make the step up anyway. Norwich is probably a bit of a step up from Hull. Could we then see Gelhardt maybe going to Norwich? Because it feels like wherever Sellers goes now, he's going to be looking at Gelhardt. He's going to be looking at Gelhardt. So I kind of am just keeping a shrewd eye on where he goes, because he shouldn't be out of work, Sellers. I think he's done a really good job. Did a really good job at Reading under the circumstances. Under the circumstances at Hull, again, he's done a really good job. But I'm really disappointed. Joffrey wouldn't have had to move far. He could still go to Hull, but a new manager, new expectations, new standards, and effectively new players as well. So I'm disappointed with that. Brandon says he gets another Champo job. Yeah. We've already spoke about that, Knox. Already spoke about that previously, mate. Rai says, I'd love us to get Jonathan David, but his wages alone would ruin us. I think it's just a bit too much, mate. Jonathan David. Yeah, I don't think there's any way we get someone like him. Gav says, Raskin, Buendia and Solomon, 40, 50 million quid, good business. Nelson Semedo on a free. I like that. All right, I like that last one, mate. Would Jonathan Davis be too expensive? Yeah. Easy says, Hull owner is like Watford's trigger happy, 100%. Like Cleverley leaving was just bizarre as well. I think Cleverley at a championship club now, whoever goes in for him, I think it'd be a really good option. I really like Tom Cleverley. I know in 2025 it wasn't the best thing. He only won 5 games, but it's not just the mark of the manager. And we've seen that with loads of previous managers before as well. Jam says, morning, Con. Are you, Jam? How's it going, bud? They can't be sacking Sellers, surely. Where do Hull expect to be? Sellers did a good job at Redden, and now at Hull, it doesn't seem to have a stable environment. I think he'll get a good champ job, mate. So if he gets a good championship job, I'm hoping he goes for Gelhardt, because I think Gelhardt can acclimatise to many clubs at this level. Okay, we'll move on. Kelleher. This is probably split the fan base more than, well, I say split the fan base. I think Leeds fans would absolutely die on getting Kelleher. That's what I kind of believe. And we've mentioned this several times over the past couple of days as well. 27 saves this season, 900 minutes played, 4 clean sheets, 10 appearances. Yeah, 40 million apparently slapped on this. And Lewis Steele of the Mail has reported this morning that Leeds like him, but he's not top priority. And I get that. Look, I completely get that. And I don't think that's poppycock either. I think that's an obvious commentary. I think it makes a lot of sense as well. Hold on, everybody. The One Leeds group is just popping off on WhatsApp, which is great when they all should be watching the video. There you go, Patrons. You're under the scope. Jam, you can go in and tell them off now. Liked at Leeds, but not priority. And I think that's right. I mean, 40 million quid, not for me. And I think actually, when you look at someone like, thank you so much as well, Nicholas. I forgot to talk about him. He was on the thumbnail as well yesterday. I'm talking about everybody at the minute. But Kelleher, not for me at the minute. I think 40 million quid. I actually look at someone like Bournemouth, and apparently Bournemouth are interested in him. Bournemouth are interested in Sorrier as well, just saying. But Kelleher, I think they'd struggle with that. You know, as a Kepa replacement, going out and spending 40 million quid on a goalkeeper, it's too much. It's too much money. For that money, you could get Sorrier and Kalimwendo. Great shout there, right? I really enjoy that. Yeah, that's a good comment. Is anyone paying that for Kelleher? This is what I mean, mate. It's too much. And I know there'll be a lot of Irish fans in here. There might be a lot of Scousers in here. I know we get a lot of the Irish contingent. Shout out to the Camden Whites and everybody else over there as well. But nah, not for me. Okay, let's move on to Manor Solomon. Let's talk about Manor. There is a report this morning, a couple of reports actually this morning, and it's from the Spurs side of things. So it's whether you can believe it or not, but apparently, actually, can we get Manor Solomon's Premier League stats? We can't, unfortunately. We just got the Championship stats, which is fine. 15 million quid. Leeds are playing hardball. Like it. Spurs want 20 and above, according to Tottenham Hotspur News and a few other outlets above. But there is a stalling point on Leeds United. They're only willing to spend 15 million quid. Now, at the start of the season, Leeds were quoted. It was common knowledge. Leeds were quoted that apparently, you know, whatever the outcome was, effectively, it was going to be 10 to 15 million quid for Manor Solomon. That was the ballpark. Obviously, he's had his season now. And Mr. Levy, like the shrewd operator he is, has increased it by, you know, you kind of 5 or 10 million quids there. We don't know what the structure of the deal would be, whether or not, you know, if Leeds were to stay in the Premier League, they'd get an extra 5 million quid if they put 15 in. But the overall deal, Leeds are not willing to go more than 15 million quid. I like it. I like that from Leeds. I like us just not being mugs when it comes to it. Now, that extra 5 million quid, we're not accountants. When it's not our money, we don't care. It does affect the club that we love when it comes to PSR structure, of course, and what we can spend with the amount of losses we've accrued over the 3 years that we've added 1 Premier League and 2 Championship seasons. But there is a limit for Manor Solomon for me. And it is because, as we spoke about yesterday on the 6 Picks video, which is in the pinned comment, if you want to watch that after this, there are players out there for a similar valuation to Solomon who have proved it at the top level consistently. We don't need to go over this again. I think there's a risk signing Solomon. I would go for Solomon, but I think my option for Manor Solomon would be a loan to an obligation. I think that's kind of where I'd be looking at it. But then with the obligation, you're guaranteed to sign him. So would it be a loan to an option? You know, would Spurs exercise that? The big thing is Marseille, according to reports in France, are not interested, which kills Spurs a bit and gives Leeds a massive hand, because Leeds can then turn around and go, actually, nah. But with Marseille out of the equation, which is according to multiple reports in France now, after looking this morning, with them being out, De Zerbi not being convinced with the valuation, etc., whatever it is, Leeds can play hardball now, because it's not going to turn into a bidding war. A bidding war is exactly what Spurs wanted, because naturally you get a bigger valuation for their player, their asset. So I like that from Leeds. I like it a lot. And Spurs have then got to, because then basically they've got to kind of, if they won't accept 15 million quid and Leeds are saying it's 15 million quid or off, they kind of have to sort of, market Manor Solomon. But where do you market Manor Solomon? Is a Premier League club going to come in for him? I don't think they do. I'm not sure they do. Unless you maybe one of the newly promoted sides, but I'm not sure one of the Premier League clubs. And I know you guys look, so you'll say Champions League, Shakhtar, etc., etc. Name maybe the club that would go in for him with the resources, wingers, and trusted wingers they have right now. When you look at the wingers in the Premier League, their attributes, etc., and dependability of a lot of them in the bottom half, they're there and playing for them very regularly. Manor Solomon at Premier League level, it hasn't been proven yet. Whatever anybody says, 4 goals in 19 at Fulham, it's not been proven yet at Tottenham. That they're just the facts. As much as we love him in the Championship, it's not been proven in the Premier League yet. Okay, so what club takes a risk? So this might play into our hands if we are to go and get Manor Solomon, because we might be the only club in the mix. We know he loves England. Apparently, he gave the green light to Marseille, though, which is interesting. A lot of top sources saying he gave the green light to Marseille. So maybe it was the dazzling lights of the Champions League football, De Zerbi, which obviously would be a big attraction, but fascinating when it comes to it. Sunderland, Everton would get him. Yeah, depends on the valuation, doesn't it? Wow, I agree with you, Connor. Thanks, Bob. Solomon, loan with an agreement to buy if we stay at 15 million quid. I know it's been said many times, Connor, but can the money come off the grey deal? I'm not sure, mate. I think that's already been done. Lewis says when it comes to the pricing and what Leeds are able. Well, they spoke earlier, didn't they, in terms of the instalments, and those instalments being reduced for Archie Gray with maybe a transferred Manor Solomon. I don't know if that can be made. That'd be a question for a different day when it comes to just digging. Solomon maybe too expensive, maybe cheaper for like a Zolis or a Loriente. Good options, mate. You've got a good brain. 49ers at negotiating a top notch, selling high prices, but won't be mugs paying up. That's kind of where I'm at, mate. The big thing for me is maybe it's not just a Solomon thing. Maybe it's not just a Solomon thing. Maybe it's just Leeds, and mind my French, not been taking the piss out of anymore. Because I feel like we have done, especially at Premier League standard for a long time when it's come to negotiation. So I like that. I like it. Stick with it, Leeds, and let's get him if we do get him for a cheap fee. This is an interesting one, a very, very interesting one, and I want you guys to let me know what you think in the comment section below. I like this. I do like this. Let me know what you think. Now, hear me out. Versatile Swiss Army knife, over 100 Premier League appearances, 28 competition with Bogle, better defensively than Bogle. That's just a fact, I think. Kyle Walker-Peters 1v1, strong, athletic, free agent, good for PSR. Take it. Russell Martin, absolutely adored him. I think he's got 100, what I've got written down here, 150 Premier League appearances. Spurs, Southampton. Absolute banker for me. Absolute banker. What do you guys think? There's not that much more to say on Kyle Walker-Peters. Absolute banker. Sensible. For all the other links, I kind of look at him and I think with what we need as competition for Bogle, Walker-Peters, good age. Soccer AM, good age. Terrible. But yeah, as I say, good age, versatile across the back line, strong, athletic, fits the profile of a Premier League player. 28 years, it's an absolute no-brainer for me. No-brainer. Yes. Big clubs were after him a few seasons ago. No-brainer. Good player. Yeah, it's good. Good player. A little lightweight. I wouldn't say so, Rune. I think you don't have to be, for me, mate, you don't have to be 6'5", this, that, and the other. Every time we came up against Kyle Walker-Peters last season, I thought he was arguably the best player on the pitch against Leeds United. Physically, I think he competes very, very well. He's combative, he's aggressive, he's tenacious. I like him a lot. I think he uses his body weight very well. You can be small, but there's a difference. Kyle Walker-Peters and Brendan Aronson are probably the same height. One gets pushed off the ball easily. The other one is a stocky, physical, strong player. Yeah, same height, completely different body compositions. Yeah, for me, I like him. I like him a lot. I've always liked him. And then you kind of look at what Macaulay said here. Connor, do you think Schmidt is leaving? Long Island Iced Tea says as well, only 28 to resale value. Yeah, I think for me, I've never seen the consensus like this across my chat. Same level, Renegade says same level as Bogle, not an improvement but competition. Kyle Walker-Peters can play left back too. I know square pegs, but he's played there a fair bit this season. I think the big thing as well is what everybody's saying is it's someone who can offer some serious competition. James says, think he'd be wanting first team minutes. That's a really good point as well. Kufal would be more than happy playing the bench role, but this is what Leeds can't offer right now. Leeds, for me, if you go for someone like Kyle Walker-Peters, I've got to say that right back position is yours. It's yours, and you're going to be competing. You're going to be competing with Bogle for that right back spot. That's what they should do, because there cannot be guarantees. There cannot be guarantees right now with Leeds United of places. They can't. Ampadu, Tanaka, I don't want any guarantees. You are competing for your place because there are players who are as good as you, if not better. And the 49ers can go out and get these players. If we play this strategically, if we work PSR around sponsorships and lucrative commercialization and work our way around that and get some really good player sales in, we can work around PSR. Leeds United have got all of these players, all of them. Meritocracy, they've done amazing. Of course they have. None of them are guaranteed. Not one of them. So if I'm Leeds United, I'm going out to Kyle Walker-Peters and saying, it's up to you, mate. If you're good at preseason, you start. You start. That's ruthless. That's cold. That is exactly what Leeds United should be doing to stay in the division. It's not getting rid of all the players, but it's them being on the toes, because every player, aside from Lamine Yamal at the minute, is replaceable. So yeah, for me, it's a Wanyeri from Arsenal. Don't think so, mate. Don't think so. Although he's getting no minutes, but yeah, not for me. Or as Lee Judges calls him, Wanyeri. So yeah, Gav says, Connor, we should go all out, either Walker-Peters or Nelson Semedo and Mitchell for left back, all available on a free. Good for PSR and quality at this level, mate. Mitchell's a really good shout as well. Really good shout. Imagine just even the balancing act of, you've still got Bogle in there, of course. You potentially still got Firpo in there, but situation of Tyreek Mitchell and Walker-Peters on either side. It's not bad, is it? It's not bad. Haaland, says Nicholas. Don't think so. Sarah says, those stats are awful. Sarah, look at the team he's been part of. Look at the team he's been part of. Do you know what I mean? When we went down, we still had some players in there of which had really good stats and of which you were going to keep on the next year. Do you know what I mean? If we'd have looked at some of our players when we got relegated to the Championship, but we said, look, you look at Nonto's stats. Nonto was our best player in the Premier League, but you look at his stats and you go, really? Not great. Not great. Terrible stats. But Nonto is a Premier League player, in my opinion. So just because his stats have been bad in a woeful team of which is comprised of no real development. I mean, you go out in the summer, Sarah, and you sign Cameron Archer for what, 15, 20 million quid, and you rely on Adam Armstrong in the Premier League to get you goals. That's just your striker. You're just signing your own death warrant. You're literally signing your own death warrant. You know? No way. Curtis says midfielder who fat our system is Keane in Dewsbury Hall, apparently leaving Chelsea this summer. You've been looking at my midfield list, my friend. Let's get on to the next, shall we? Guys, as well, we've got 1,200 of you in here this fine morning. Please slap a like on the video. If you're watching on Twitter and Facebook, I know a lot of you like to do so. If you actually follow on YouTube, you can become a member, which we've got benefits for, and we will be having benefits for in the Premier League season. You can become a subscriber, so you're instantly notified as soon as I upload, because I know a lot of you see it late. And also, the playback on Twitter and Facebook is generally delayed and will be, according to the YouTube email I got the other day, will continue to be delayed more and more and more, because it encourages people to sign up to YouTube in the future. So please make sure you do that. Really appreciate that. And let's move on to the next phase of the video. Okay, now we're sticking on fullbacks, because I think it's important. As you can probably see in the thumbnail, there's evidence to Leeds actually looking at fullbacks, which is lovely, even at this early point in the transfer bit. Let me try and spell this guy's name right. Do we have his name right? Do we have his name right? I don't think that's his name. Oh no, what's going on? Let's hold on. Let me just hold on a sec, guys. I'm just gonna. Normally, my spelling's all right, but you're gonna have to bear with me a sec. I apologize for this. Just told you to. Yeah, okay, good. That's fine. That's fine. We've got it. We've got it. I had spelt it right, but I didn't realize that was his full first name, to be honest. Here we go. It's Constantino Tsimikas. My God. Scrabble. Apologies for that, everybody. Took a while. Constantino Tsimikas, linked with Leeds United, 29 years of age, 2 years left on his deal. Apparently, he will be leaving Liverpool this summer. And Liverpool have actually got two of the left-backs potentially leaving this summer, or at least one going to the bench when it comes to Andy Robertson. Interesting when you're looking at the expected assists as well per 90, because you can't judge, similarly to Ramazani, you cannot judge Tsimikas on appearances throughout the season. You've got to judge him per 90. That is a reflective statistic for Constantino Tsimikas, as it was largely Ramazani, because they ain't played enough minutes. So when you're looking at his expected assists going forward this season, he's only third when it comes behind Mo Salah and Dominic Szoboszlai, which is a really impressive stat. Obviously, Leeds United do encourage the left back to get forward. I think when Liverpool are looking at Kerkez, obviously at Bournemouth, I think he's a much more well-rounded left back than Tsimikas. I think in the duels, I think he can be left wanting a little bit. I worry sometimes about his physicality, Tsimikas. But listen, when you look at his profile, when you look at the recruitment team that brought him in at Liverpool, him coming to Leeds United, he'd be one of the biggest earners at Leeds United. And look, when you're looking at Tsimikas right now, huge Greek profile. It'd be great for globalization with Leeds United. He's almost putting Greece on the map in terms of when you go to Greece, it's Tsimikas. There's a song in there somewhere, isn't there? But it's Tsimikas everywhere. If any of you have been to Greece, wherever you've been, I know a couple of you commented recently saying you're in Crete, this, that, and the other, getting boozed up and watching Leeds, which is great. But anywhere you go, I remember going to Skiathos a couple of years ago, and it's Tsimikas everything. So when we're talking about globalization, commercialization, when it comes to Leeds United, players like Tsimikas do help the club's profile. However, when he is considering Leeds United, or if he is at 29 years of age, he's got to be considering a couple of things: contract, and if Leeds United are going to be going down. Am I joining a club? Am I bringing my family up to Leeds, an unknown area? Am I bringing them up to Leeds to then get relegated again and cause a little bit more discomfort, a little bit more sort of a momentum shift in my career, and then I'll have to be moving again if I've got a relegation clause? So a lot to consider. I can't see this one happening, to be honest with you, and I'm interested to hear what you guys think in the comment section below. Tsimikas would be around 8 or 10 million and proven. Could go with Aaron Hickey, just doesn't get minutes at Brentford and quality. Yeah, Aaron Hickey's been on the circuit for ages, hasn't he, mate? It's not a bad shout, that. I think Liverpool, that's just too much money for any player. And that, I mean, that's the thing, obviously, with two years left on his deal. Graham. Right. This guy's in the same conversation as like Sesko right now, mate. Aït-Nouri. There is another Wolves left back in Hugo Bueno, who is a really good option for Leeds, I think. But Aït-Nouri, mate, he's about to be offered a new contract worth about 50 million quid. And there's a lot of top clubs looking at him, mate. We can't be looking at your Seskos, your Aït-Nouris, players like that. Leeds just don't have a chance. Okay, he always does a good job. He's got a good team around him. He wouldn't get the same protection with us. Agree. Renegade said he creates so much wherever he plays and enjoys a good tackle. Tsimikas for around 8 to 10 million. Tsimikas is a good player. Will need reassurance. Like you said, Connor, he'll be going from a league winner to a newly promoted. Dad itch as well. Not a bad shout there, Ryan. It's interesting. I don't think Tsimikas will get done. Now, something that we also need to consider as well when we're talking about the end of season, why are transfers not happening right now, Connor? The Premier League ends on the 25th. La Liga ends on the 25th. The Bundesliga ends on the 17th. Serie A on the 25th. Ligue 1 on the 22nd. And the Championship, of course, consolidated or conclusively done by the 24th when the Blades face Sheffield United. So keep your hats on when it comes to transfers. It's not quite done yet. We're going to be speaking tonight on the battle lines about Burnley as well. Currently, they have had some of their loan signings switched into permanent signings. Leeds tried to avoid that this time, but Edwards, Zian Fleming, Bashir Humphreys, and Jaden Anthony have all become Burnley players. Why is that key to note? Why are you bringing that in, Connor? Well, because that's just not happened to us, has it? Leeds haven't put an obligation in the likes of Solomon's deal, but we're going to be speaking tonight about Egan Riley, Josh Brownhill, and the interest in those players and how that could affect newly promoted sides and how that could benefit Leeds United with obviously us being in the Premier League and needing to stack teams not above us, but below us. That's been it from me, everybody. Hope you've thoroughly enjoyed this. Please leave a like before you leave. There's over 1,200 of you on all platforms. You're really enjoying these videos. Let me know in the comment section below after the video what style of transfer videos you want me to make. You guys seem to really enjoy the style of content that I kind of work on as well. It's not just rumors, but I enjoy talking about certain players as well, and us all educating each other when it comes to certain bits. This will be available on Spotify and Apple immediately after this. Really, I'm going to put chapters on the video as well, so you can skip to your favorite bit. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back tomorrow morning, but more importantly, we're going to be back this evening from around about 8:15 for the battle lines. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining. Leave your comments in the section below. Don't forget to like before you leave. My name's Conor McGilligan. This has been the Room Mill, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.